First contact. The celestial explorer drifted silently through the void, its engines humming with a steady rhythm that had become the heartbeat of Commander Elena Reyes' life over the past 18 months. Earth was now just a pale blue dot, barely visible among the countless stars that surrounded them. This was humanity's most ambitious deep space mission yet, a voyage to establish a research outpost in the Tau Ceti system, 11 light-years from home. Elena stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the distant starlight. At 42, she carried the weight of command with practiced ease, though the responsibility of leading the first crewed mission beyond Sol had left permanent creases around her eyes and strands of silver in her once uniformly black hair. "Commander, you should see this," called Dr. Marcus Chen, the ship's lead astrobiologist. His voice carried an unusual edge that immediately caught Elena's attention. She crossed the deck to his monitoring station, where complicated datasets scrolled across multiple screens. "What am I looking at, Marcus?" "Something impossible." He gestured to the central screen where a spherical object was clearly visible against the backdrop of space. "It's artificial, approximately 2 kilometers in diameter, and it's adjusting its trajectory to intercept us." Elena's pulse quickened. First contact protocol. Now, the ship's systems shifted seamlessly as the crew moved with practiced precision. Years of training for a scenario many had privately believed would never happen kicked in automatically. The celestial explorer's forward momentum slowed as the vessel adopted a non-threatening posture. "We're broadcasting the standard greeting package on all frequencies," reported Communications Officer Aisha Okafor, her fingers dancing across her console. "Mathematical sequences, basic scientific constants, elementary particle diagrams. Everything in the first contact playbook." The spherical object continued its approach, now close enough that surface details were becoming visible. Its exterior wasn't smooth as initially thought, but composed of interlocking hexagonal panels that shifted and realigned continuously, like a living organism breathing. "Still no response to our broadcasts," Aisha noted. Elena nodded. "Keep transmitting. And let's get a better look at our visitor." The ship's external cameras zoomed in on the alien vessel. The hexagonal panels appeared to be flowing rather than mechanically moving, suggesting technology far beyond human comprehension. "Commander," Marcus called, his voice strained, "I'm detecting energy buildups along the object's surface." Before Elena could respond, a beam of coherent light shot from the alien vessel, enveloping the celestial explorer in a pale blue glow. Emergency klaxons immediately sounded throughout the ship. "Status report," Elena demanded. "All systems operational." Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov responded after a tense moment. "Whatever that beam is, it's not damaging the ship. It appears to be scanning us." The blue light pulsed once, twice, then disappeared. For several long seconds, nothing happened. Then, without warning, every screen and display on the celestial explorer flickered and went dark. "Defensive measures," Elena ordered. "They've bypassed our security protocols somehow," Aisha reported, frantically trying to regain control of her systems. There. The screens came back online simultaneously, but instead of their normal displays, they showed a series of complex symbols flowing across them like water. "It's a language," breathed Dr. Elisa Nguyen, the mission's sinolinguist. "They're trying to communicate." Elena moved to Elisa's station. "Can you decode it?" "Not immediately. But look," she pointed as the symbols began to arrange themselves differently, gradually forming patterns that resembled mathematical equations. "They're starting with universal constants, smart approach, building a foundation for communication." For the next 6 hours, the crew worked tirelessly alongside the ship's AI to establish a rudimentary communication channel with the alien vessel. Elisa led the effort, her expertise in comparative linguistics proving invaluable as they slowly constructed a primitive lexicon. "They call themselves the Arvani," Eliza finally announced, fatigue evident in her voice. "As far as I can tell, they're as surprised to encounter us as we are them." "Do they pose a threat?" Elena asked the question that had been weighing on everyone's mind. Eliza hesitated. It's complicated. They're not hostile in the sense we might understand it, but they seem deeply concerned about our presence here. There's a recurring phrase that translates roughly to unexpected variable or anomalous progression. They keep referring to us as the premature ones. Elena frowned. What does that mean? I believe. Marcus interjected, joining their conversation. They're suggesting we shouldn't be here yet. That humanity has developed interstellar travel capability earlier than expected. Expected by whom? Elena asked. No one had an answer. The celestial explorer maintained its position relative to the Arvani vessel as communication slowly improved. 3 days into the encounter, the aliens finally requested visual contact. When the main view screen activated, Elena found herself facing a being unlike anything she had imagined. The Arvani appeared as a shifting collection of translucent, crystalline structures arranged in a vaguely humanoid shape. Colors pulsed through their form in patterns that seemed to correspond with their speech. Premature humans, the translated voice echoed through the command deck. Your presence here violates probability models. Explanation required. Elena stepped forward, choosing her words carefully. We are explorers from Earth. We seek knowledge and peaceful contact with other intelligent species. We do not understand what models you refer to. The crystalline being pulsed with deep blues and purples. Your species was catalogued 3,000 solar cycles ago. Technological development trajectory calculated with 99.8% certainty. Interstellar capability predicted in not less than 340 additional cycles. Current presence indicates significant model failure. The implication hit Elena like a physical blow. These aliens have been watching Earth, studying humanity, for thousands of years, and somehow humans had defied their predictions. Our development has been rapid, she acknowledged, particularly in the last century. Without external intervention, the Arvani's form contracted slightly, colors shifting to amber and red. Self-directed advancement to this technological level within observed timeframe is statistically improbable. We've had no contact with other species, Elena assured them. Human ingenuity and determination drove our progress. The alien seemed unconvinced. Request permission to verify. Direct observation of your vessel's technological systems required. Elena exchanged glances with her senior officers. Allowing aliens aboard their ship carried obvious risks, but refusing could potentially damage this first diplomatic contact. Limited access may be granted, she replied carefully, under supervision. The Arvani pulse with rapid color shifts. Inadequate. Full technological assessment necessary to validate origin claims. That would compromise our security, Elena countered firmly. We propose an alternative. We will share technical information about non-critical systems and demonstrate their function. The alien went completely still, its colors fading to a uniform silver. Alternative proposal. Humans will face assessment challenge. Standard protocol for anomalous species advancement. What does this challenge involve? Elena asked cautiously. Problem solving under observation. Failure indicates external technological acquisition rather than native development. And if we pass? Recognition of species autonomy. Knowledge exchange permitted. Elena took a deep breath. We accept your challenge. The crystalline being flared with bright white light. Preparation begins. Challenge commences in one rotation period. After the transmission ended, the command deck erupted in anxious discussion. We have no idea what this challenge entails, Dmitri pointed out. It could be impossible by design, or dangerous, added Security Chief Rafael Torres. This could be an elaborate trap. Elena raised her hand for silence. I understand your concerns, but consider the alternative. We refuse, and they conclude we've stolen our technology or received unauthorized help. What then? We're 11 light years from home with no backup. The commander's right, Marcus said. Besides, if they wanted to destroy us, they could have done so already. Their technology clearly surpasses ours. We need to prepare, Elena decided. Assemble our best problem solvers from every department. Whatever this challenge is, we'll face it together. 20 hours later, the Arvani transmitted the details of their challenge. The celestial explorer would be transported to a nearby star system containing an unstable white dwarf about to undergo a catastrophic magnetic reconfiguration. The human task: predict the exact pattern of the stellar event using only observational data and mathematical models, with no assistance from advanced computing systems. They're testing our fundamental understanding of astrophysics, Marcus explained, not just our technological capabilities. Can we do this? Elena asked directly. Dr. Keiko Sato, the ship's theoretical physicist, stepped forward. The mathematics involved are extreme. We're talking about modeling quantum behaviors at a stellar scale with only human computation. But not impossible. Keiko hesitated. Not theoretically impossible, no, but practically speaking, without our AI systems. The unspoken conclusion hung in the air. The challenge seemed designed to be beyond human capability. There must be a way, Elena insisted. Some approach they haven't considered. As the celestial explorer was enveloped in some form of faster-than-light transport field generated by the Arvani vessel, Elena gathered her team. Scientists, engineers, mathematicians, all the finest minds humanity had selected for this mission. They've set us an impossible task, she told them bluntly. But I suspect that's deliberate. They're not just testing our knowledge. They're testing how we approach problems that appear unsolvable. So we need to think outside their parameters, Dmitri suggested. Exactly, Elena nodded. We need to demonstrate humanity's greatest strength, our ability to find unexpected solutions when faced with impossible odds. The star system materialized around them with a disorienting flash. Through the viewports, they could see the white dwarf star pulsing erratically, its magnetic field already beginning to destabilize. 3 Arvani vessels positioned themselves around the celestial explorer. A transmission came through. Assessment begins. Predict complete magnetic reconfiguration sequence. Time allowed. 1 planetary rotation. As her crew scrambled to set up observation equipment and begin their calculations, Elena watched the dying star with narrowed eyes. The Arvani had created this test expecting humans to fail. But if there was one thing history had taught her about her species, it was that humans performed at their best when failure was not an option. Whatever these ancient aliens believed about humanity's capabilities, she was determined to prove them wrong. The human solution. Aboard the primary Arvani vessel, a council of crystalline beings pulsed with agitated colors as they communicated in their native frequency patterns. Their physical forms shifted constantly, reflecting the intensity of their debate. The human should not be here, insisted Council Elder Vekshi, its form condensing into tight, angular patterns of deep crimson. Our probability models have never failed with such magnitude. There must be interference. From whom? Countered Teslu, whose gentler blue hues suggested a more moderate position. The Galactic Compact maintains strict non-intervention protocols for developing species. No advanced civilization would risk sanctions by accelerating human development. Then explain their presence. Vekshi flashed with frustrated orange pulses. A species moves from atmospheric flight to interstellar travel in less than a single century. It defies all evolutionary precedent. The Arvani Council's discussion was interrupted by a subordinate observer, whose crystalline structure shimmered with urgent greens. The humans are employing unusual methodology in the assessment challenge. The council members directed their collective attention to the monitoring feeds showing the interior of the celestial explorer. Rather than utilizing traditional astrophysical approaches to predict the white dwarf's magnetic reconfiguration, the humans had divided themselves into specialized teams attacking the problem from multiple angles simultaneously. Fascinating, murmured Teslu. They're not following established predictive protocols. As expected, Vekshi pulsed dismissively. Without external assistance, they cannot possibly solve the challenge. Meanwhile, Aboard the Celestial Explorer, Alina moved between workstations, checking on each team's progress. The atmosphere was tense but focused, every crew member contributing their expertise to the seemingly impossible task. "Commander," called Dr. Sato, looking up from her calculations, "we've hit a fundamental problem. The quantum fluctuations at the star's core are creating too many variables. Even if we had our full AI capabilities, I'm not sure we could predict the exact pattern of magnetic reconfiguration." Helena studied the holographic model of the white dwarf that dominated the center of the science lab. The star's magnetic field lines twisted and contorted in chaotic patterns that defied conventional analysis. "What if we're approaching this wrong?" suggested Marcus, who had been unusually quiet for the past hour. "The Arvani asked us to predict the pattern, but maybe that's not what they really want to see." "Explain," Alina prompted. "In science, when a system is too complex to model directly, we often look for underlying principles. Conservation laws, symmetry patterns, fundamental constants. What if instead of trying to predict every detail of the reconfiguration, we identify the governing principles that constrain the possible outcomes? A boundary solution rather than a complete model." Dr. Seto's eyes widened. "It wouldn't give us the exact pattern, but it would define the parameters within which all possible patterns must fall." "Would that satisfy the challenge requirements?" Alina asked. "It's not what they asked for," Marcus admitted, "but it might demonstrate a deeper understanding of the physics involved. It's also the only approach that might be feasible in the time we have," added Sato. "We can't model every quantum interaction, but we can establish the conservation laws that must apply during the reconfiguration." Alina made her decision. "Do it. And I want everyone contributing. Engineers, medical staff, even non-scientific personnel. Everyone has a perspective that might help us see patterns we're missing." As the hours passed, the Celestial Explorer became a hive of collaborative activity. Engineer Dmitry Volkov, working with Dr. Chen, realized that the star's behavior resembled fluid dynamics problems he'd solved when designing the ship's cooling systems. Lieutenant Torres, with his military background, recognized pattern matching techniques used in tactical simulations. Dr. Nguyen applied linguistic analysis algorithms to identify symmetries in the star's energy emissions. Piece by piece, a new approach emerged, not the brute force calculation the Arvani had expected, but an elegant solution that defined the boundaries of possibility. "Commander," called Aisha from her communication station, "the Arvani are requesting an update on our progress." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put them through." The view screen activated to show the now familiar crystalline form of the Arvani representative. Its colors shifted rapidly through questioning patterns of green and yellow. "Human assessment time half complete. Preliminary results requested." "We're pursuing a novel approach," Alina explained carefully. "Rather than attempting to predict the exact reconfiguration pattern, we're defining the boundary conditions and conservation principles that will govern all possible outcomes." The Arvani went completely still, its colors fading to a neutral white. "Clarification required. You are not calculating the precise field changes. That would be impossible within the given time constraints, possibly even with our most advanced computing systems," Alina admitted frankly. "Instead, we're developing a meta-solution that will tell us what patterns are possible and which are not." The alien remained silent for several seconds, then pulsed briefly with deep blues. "Continue. Full results expected at conclusion of allotted time." After the transmission ended, Dmitry approached Elena with concern etched on his face. "They didn't seem impressed with our approach." "They didn't reject it either," Elena pointed out. "Keep working. It's our best chance." As the final hours of the challenge ticked away, the human team refined their boundary model, identifying 13 fundamental constraints that would govern the white dwarf's magnetic reconfiguration. Dr. Sato led the mathematical formulation, creating equations that defined the limits of what was physically possible for the stellar event. "There," she said finally, stepping back from the holographic display, where their solution hovered in elegant mathematical notation. It's not a prediction of what will happen. It's a definition of everything that could happen. Elena studied the equations, understanding just enough of the advanced mathematics to appreciate their beauty. And the actual reconfiguration pattern will fall somewhere within these parameters. Guaranteed, Seto confirmed. Physics won't allow anything else. Just as they finalized their work, the white dwarf outside began its catastrophic magnetic shift. Brilliant tendrils of energy erupted from its surface as its magnetic poles rapidly realigned. The crew watched in awe as the stellar dance unfolded before them, a cosmic spectacle few humans had ever witnessed. "Are we recording this?" Elena asked urgently. "Every sensor we have is focused on the star," Marcus confirmed. "We're capturing everything." When the magnetic reconfiguration completed 30 minutes later, the science team immediately began comparing the actual event with their boundary model. "It fits," Sato announced with quiet triumph. "The reconfiguration pattern falls entirely within our predicted parameters." Before Elena could respond, the Arvani vessels surrounding them generated a field that froze the Celestial Explorer in place. The main view screen activated without warning, showing not one but 7 Arvani Council members arranged in a semicircle, their crystalline forms pulsating with a rainbow of colors. "Assessment complete," announced the central figure, which Elena recognized as Vexshi from earlier communications. "Humans have provided unexpected solution methodology." "But did we pass?" Elena asked directly. The council members' colors synchronized briefly in what Elena had come to recognize as surprise. "You did not provide the requested magnetic reconfiguration pattern," Vexshi stated. "Because it wasn't possible within the constraints you gave us," Elena replied calmly. "Instead, we offered something more valuable. A framework that encompasses all possible outcomes, including the one that occurred." "A partial solution." Vexshi pulsed with dismissive red. "No," countered another council member, its form flowing forward. Elena recognized Teslu by its distinctive blue patterns. "Not partial. Different." The humans recognized the limitations of direct calculation and developed an alternative approach that demonstrated deeper understanding of the underlying physics. The challenge was designed to be impossible without advanced computing assistance, a third council member noted, its amber hues suggesting curiosity. Yet the humans found a path around the obstacle rather than attempting to force their way through it. Vexshi's colors darkened. "The question remains, how has this species advanced so rapidly without external influence?" Elena stepped forward. "If I may address the council directly, you're asking the wrong question. You're looking for outside interference because your models predicted a slower development pace. But those models failed to account for something fundamental about humanity." "Explain," demanded Vexshi. "Humans thrive when challenged. Throughout our history, we faced extinction-level threats, ice ages, pandemics, environmental disasters. Each time, we not only survived but emerged stronger, more innovative. Our technological development isn't linear, it's exponential, accelerating with each generation." Elena gestured to her crew standing behind her. "This mission represents the collective effort of billions of humans over thousands of years. We stand on the shoulders of countless scientists, engineers, and dreamers who pushed boundaries and refused to accept limitations." The council members pulsed with various colors as they communicated privately among themselves. Finally, Teslu addressed the humans again. "Your assessment results have been reconsidered. The methodology, while unorthodox, demonstrates genuine problem-solving capability consistent with natural species development." "The probability remains extremely low," Vexshi interjected, "but not impossible." "We have reached consensus," Teslu continued. "Humanity is recognized as an autonomously developed species with unusual advancement patterns. The Galactic Compact protocols for first contact will be initiated." Elena felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you. We look forward to peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture." "There are conditions." Vexshi pulsed reluctantly. "Human expansion beyond your current system will be monitored. Technological development guidelines will be provided. Compliance is expected. Elena's relief quickly gave way to concern. With respect, humanity will determine its own path forward. We welcome guidance and knowledge exchange, but not external control of our development. The council members rippled with agitated colors at this response. After another private communication, Teslu addressed them again. Your species' independent nature is noted. Alternative proposal. Humanity will join the Galactic Compact as probationary members, with access to knowledge exchange, but restrictions on certain technologies deemed hazardous to developing species. That sounds like a reasonable starting point for negotiations, Elena replied diplomatically, though any final agreements would require approval from Earth's governing bodies. Acceptable. Teslu pulsed with satisfaction. Preliminary cultural exchange will commence immediately. Your vessel will be escorted back to your home system, where formal diplomatic protocols will be established. As the transmission ended, the command deck erupted in excited conversation. They had not only passed the Arvani challenge but secured humanity's place among the stars. Well done, Commander, Marcus said, his normally serious expression replaced with a broad smile. You just negotiated humanity's entry into an interstellar community we didn't even know existed until a few days ago. We all did, Elena corrected him, looking around at her crew with pride. Every person on this ship contributed to this outcome. What do you think these hazardous technologies might be? Isho wondered aloud. We'll find out, Elena replied. But more importantly, we've demonstrated something fundamental about humanity that these advanced beings hadn't understood. Our greatest technology isn't our engines or computers or weapons. It's our ability to find unconventional solutions to impossible problems. As the celestial explorer was escorted back toward Earth by the Arvani vessels, Elena returned to the observation deck where this extraordinary journey had begun. The stars looked different to her now, knowing they were home to ancient civilizations that had been watching humanity for millennia. Yet for all their advanced technology and long history, the Arvani had been surprised by humans, by their resourcefulness, their collaborative problem-solving, their refusal to accept failure. In challenging humanity, these ancient beings had inadvertently revealed their own limitations, the inability to predict the unpredictable spark of human ingenuity. Earth appeared in the distance, a small blue jewel against the vastness of space. Elena smiled, knowing that humanity's story among the stars was just beginning, and that they had already earned something precious in the eyes of the galaxy: respect. On the primary Arvani vessel, the Council continued their deliberations long after communication with the humans had ended. Teslu addressed the gathered elders, its crystalline form pulsing with thoughtful blue hues. The human solution was elegant, it noted. They recognized the true nature of the challenge. They remained within boundary parameters. Vex Shi conceded reluctantly, but their advancement curve remains troubling. No other species has developed so rapidly without guidance. Perhaps, suggested another council member, we have discovered something new. A species type not previously cataloged, one capable of intuitive leaps our predictive models cannot anticipate. A dangerous variable in the galactic equation. Vex Shi pulsed with warning reds. Or a valuable one, countered Teslu. Their approach to the impossible challenge demonstrates creativity our own civilization has not displayed in millennia of existence. The council fell silent, contemplating this uncomfortable truth. After eons of technological dominance, the Arvani had encountered a young species that thought differently, that saw paths where they saw only walls. The humans would bear watching closely in the coming centuries. For the first time in thousands of years, the future held something the ancient Arvani had not experienced in ages: uncertainty, and perhaps, though none would admit it openly, a touch of fear.